Maya trembled slightly, but did not refuse the softness of his lips. The tenderness in his every gesture made her unable to resist. Maya knew that only Gavin could make her feel truly loved and protected. Welcome to our channel. If you love attractive and emotional love stories, then come to our channel. Here, we will bring you stories full of surprises, touching and engaging. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any interesting stories. In today's video, Jane would like to send you a story called Sexy Sister-in-Law. Please follow along. Maya is entering her teenage years. At this age, she clearly feels the changes inside her. A new desire seems to be rising strongly. She lives with her husband, Jason, and her brother-in-law, Gavin, in a small rented room in the city. Jason, a quiet man with a pot belly, rarely paid attention to his wife's feelings and desires. For a long time, Maya felt a lack of romance and novelty in her married life. One sunny April afternoon, Maya was cleaning the house when Gavin walked in from outside. He had just returned from college, looking full of life and youth. "Maya, I'm home," Gavin said loudly, his voice full of energy. Maya looked up and smiled slightly. "Are you tired from studying today?" "Gavin is just fine. There are a lot of group assignments at school, but I do them very quickly." Gavin put his bag down on the table and stretched. His eyes slightly met Maya's. She feels the youthfulness and freshness from her brother-in-law, and sometimes his presence makes her forget the boredom of her current life. "Are you hungry? Let me make you something to eat," Maya asked kindly. "Yes, I'm a little hungry too. Let me help you cook." Gavin quickly walked over and took out the ingredients from the refrigerator. Maya smiled. "Okay, I'll help you make noodles. It's simple, but we can eat together for fun." Gavin nodded and prepared the meal with his sister-in-law. The small but warm gestures made Maya feel comfortable in the small kitchen. The two of them cooked and chatting together, forgetting the cramped space of the room. After the meal, Gavin stood up to clean up the dishes with his sister-in-law. The small rented room made all the activities in the house naturally closed. Maya was still attentively washing the dishes, while Gavin touched at his sister-in-law. She had fair skin and standard curves under her thin nightgown. An indescribable feeling arose in his heart. Perhaps it was because of the youthfulness of teenagers, or perhaps it was because of being in contact with a mature woman like Maya. For so long, her image had become the center of his heart. When Maya finished washing up, she turned to Gavin. "Did you make any new friends when you went to school in the city?" Maya asked, her voice gentle. "There were a few, but none of them were close." Gavin replied, a little confused. "Most of my friends at school just went to school and then went home right away. No one to talk to much." "Really? When I was young like you, I also went to school far away. I felt lonely, with no one to talk to. And sometimes I felt sad," Maya said, her eyes distant as if reminds her youth. The two of them sat on a small chair. The close distance in the room further increased the intimate atmosphere. Maya gently smiled. Her eyes accidentally fell on Gavin's muscular arms. Maya suddenly swallowed. A thought flashed through her mind, but she quickly dismissed it. However, her gaze still leaves a strange feeling in Gavin's heart. "Oh, Maya." Gavin hesitated slightly, wanting to change the topic to dispel the strange feeling between the two. "Where is Jason?" "He's at work. It's the day shift today. He probably won't be back until late," Maya replied. The smile on her lips was gentle, but her eyes seemed to suggest something that Gavin wasn't sure about. In the cramped space, the silence stretched awkwardly. Maya stood up, pulled back the curtain separating the living space and the resting area to create some privacy for both of them. Gavin was a little shy, bowed his head absent-mindedly looking around the room, his hands rubbing together nervously. "I see you've been busy studying lately. You must be stressed, right?" Maya asked with a concerned look. "Whenever you have time, remember to take some time to relax. Don't let yourself get too stressed." "Yes, thank you. I also try not to be stressed, but sometimes it's hard," Gavin replied, forcing a smile. Maya sat close to Gavin. Her eyes seemed to be evaluating him. making Gavin a little confused. Suddenly, she gently put her hand on his shoulder naturally. The feeling under her palm was firm, so strong. She almost rubbed his shoulder, as if forgetting what she was about to say to Gavin. "You've grown up. You're not the little boy you used to be. You should take care of yourself more now," Maya said. Her voice is full of kindness. Suddenly, Gavin blushed slightly. The sudden contact made his heart beat faster. I understand, sister." He hesitated, not daring to look into his sister-in-law's eyes. Maya smiled slightly, as if she found something interesting in this young brother-in-law. She gently drained her hand, but sensing Gavin's confusion, she felt a strange feeling that she did not understand. "Okay, go to bed early. I have something to do tomorrow, so I will probably be back a little late. You go to sleep first." Maya stood up and walked towards the wardrobe to prepare her sleeping clothes. The small space of the rented room made her every movement and sound clearer and closer to Gavin. She stood on the other side of the curtain, starting to take off her daytime clothes. The soft sound of fabric as Maya pulled the shirt over her head, then the slow zipper of her dress, seemed to penetrate Gavin's ears, making him slightly startled. Every sound became vivid and clear in that quiet space. Gavin knew he shouldn't be curious, but the attraction from the blurry movements behind the curtain made his heart flutter. Maya didn't seem shy or in a hurry when she knew Gavin was nearby. She let things happen naturally, slowly and somewhat comfortably. Unable to stop the urge, Gavin gently, almost unconsciously, opened the curtain a little, just enough for him to see his sister-in-law's figure through the gap. The light from the lamp in the room shone in, creating a strangely seductive, hazy scene. Maya standing with her back to him, her hair falling over her slender shoulders, her figure soft but attractive. Gavin tried to keep quiet, feeling his heart pounding in his chest as he watched his sister-in-law through the small gap. Maya seemed to know that Gavin was peeking, but she didn't turn around. She continued with gentle gestures, as if savoring Gavin every moment. Each movement exuded naturalness, but brought a strong attraction. When Maya put on her soft nightgown, she touched at the curtain. Her eyes flashed with mischief. She still didn't say anything, but Maya could clearly feel Gavin's presence in her heart like a secret known only to the two of them. After that night's sneak peek, Maya and Gavin's relationship became strange. Even though they still met every day, ate and talked, the atmosphere between the two of them was always a bit awkward and hesitant, as if they both had something to say but were trying to hide it. One evening, when Jason had a night shift and the room was quieter than ever, Gavin was sitting at the table studying when Maya approached. She was wearing soft pajamas, which made Gavin feel quite confused. "You study late at night. Do you have a lot of homework?" Maya asked, her eyes secretly observing her brother-in-law's expression. "Yes, a lot, sis," Gavin replied, trying to keep his voice calm but not daring to look up. Maya looked at Gavin, smiled, then sat down on the opposite chair. Her eyes intentionally looked at him. "I see you've been quieter lately. Is there something wrong?" "No, nothing, sis," Gavin replied quickly, not daring to look directly at his sister-in-law, but his hand unconsciously tightened on the notebook. "If there's anything, just tell me. Don't be shy," Maya said softly, then raised her hand as if to comfort Gavin. "Don't forget that I'm here for you." The atmosphere became tense. Gavin could clearly feel his sister-in-law's breathing and gentle gaze. He was silent, his mind blank, not knowing how to respond. Sister Maya," Gavin whispered softly, his voice hesitant. I don't know what to say." Maya smiled, her eyes filled with patience. "It's okay, I'll listen. You just need to say it." Maya's words seemed to break the barrier in Gavin's heart. He looked at his sister-in-law, feeling all the emotions he had suppressed for so long about to burst out. Actually, there are times when I feel very strange about you and me," Gavin said softly, his eyes fixed on his trembling hands. Maya looked at him, kept silent for a few seconds, then gently replied, "What do you feel strange about? Tell me." Gavin took a deep breath, trying to gather the courage to continue. I know I shouldn't, but there are times when I have thoughts that I know are wrong. Maya was silent. Her eyes were soft as she looked at him. She sobbed softly, as if Gavin's thoughts were unpredictable yet contradictory. She knew she was partly responsible for this, but the strange feeling kept nagging at her. I understand, Gavin, Maya said softly. Her voice is soft and warm. Sometimes we can't control our emotions, especially when we live together in such a small space. Gavin looked at his sister-in-law, feeling the tolerance in her eyes. I'm sorry, maybe I'm thinking too much. Maya smiled slightly, put her hand on Gavin's shoulder, and patted him slightly. It's okay. Don't think too much. We are family. Sometimes we just need to keep our distance and understand each other. The atmosphere seemed to calm down, but at that moment, Maya slowly withdrew her hand, and neither of them knew how to end the conversation. Maya's words only fueled Gavin's inner turmoil. He looked at his sister-in-law, his eyes filled with confusion. Next time, touch you. Maya, if one day we had to separate, how would you feel? Gavin asked softly, as if he wanted to escape his complicated emotions. Maya was surprised by his question. She looked at Gavin, seeing the sadness clearly on the young man's face. Have you thought about this for a long time? Maya asked. Yes, I've been thinking about it for a while. Maybe I should move out and rent a place of my own. It would be better for both of us. Maya was silent, a strange feeling suddenly rising in her heart. She understood that living together in this cramped space would only increase the awkward situations between the two of them, but Gavin's suggestion to leave made her feel disappointed. That's good too, Maya said. Her voice is slightly sad. But no matter what, you still consider me your little brother. We'll always be family, right? Gavin nodded, but he still felt sadness spreading inside. The two of them sat silently in the small room. There was an invisible distance between them that they both felt clearly, but neither dared to cross. The next day, Gavin started looking for his own room and informed Jason of his intention. Although a bit surprised, Jason understood that his brother needed his own space to study and develop, so he agreed. As the day Gavin moved in, the atmosphere in the room became quieter. Maya remains calm, but sometimes Gavin sees an unspeakable sadness in her sister-in-law's eyes. On her last day in that room, Maya tried to keep a calm appearance, but when Gavin stood up to say goodbye to her before leaving, she couldn't help but felt choked up. Sister Maya, I'm going. Thank you very much anyway. I had a great time here, Gavin said, his voice filled with sadness. Maya nodded, forcing a smile. From now on, live well. If you need any help, just tell me. They looked at each other for a moment, then Gavin turned and walked out the door. But when the door closed behind him, Maya felt empty and lost. The emotions that had been suppressed, the feelings that had never been spoken, now surged like an undercurrent inside her. After Gavin moved out, the room became strangely quiet. Even though Maya knew her decision was right, she still couldn't shake the feeling of emptiness. Every time her husband went to work the night shift, she felt the room was so empty. She often looked at Gavin's old bed, reminding the moments they had spent together. One weekend night, Maya met Gavin outside the gate of her rented room. He looked a little more mature, but his eyes were still filled with confusion when he saw his sister-in-law. Sister Maya, I happened to pass by here. I didn't expect to see you here. Gavin stopped talking, his hand still clutching the spilled bag. Maya smiled slightly. I didn't expect to see you here either. Are you okay living alone these days? Gavin nodded. Yes, I'm fine, but sometimes I feel a little lonely. He looked at Maya, his eyes seemed to contain an indescribable emotion. It's normal to be lonely, Maya said, trying to keep her tone casual. Me too, sometimes I feel like something is missing. But that's life. They were both silent for a moment, as if to fill the void between them. Maya smiled slightly, then turned back to look at him. Okay, you should go home. I'm going back to my room too, Gavin replied softly. Yes, you should go home and rest. But when Maya turned to leave, Gavin suddenly called out, Sister Maya. Maya stopped, turned back to look at him. What is it, Gavin? I just want to say that I still remember everything when I was with you, Gavin said softly, his face slightly red. Maya looked at Gavin in surprise, clearly feeling the sincerity in his eyes. A strange emotion welled up in her heart, but she tried to stay calm. I understand, but let bygones be bygones, Gavin, Maya said, her voice gentle but firm. She turned and walked away, leaving Gavin standing there, his heart filled with emotion. Time passed, but Gavin's feelings never faded. He still visited his siblings from time to time, helping with chores and talking to Maya like a little brother, but deep down, those meetings only made him feel more pain. One evening, when Jason went to work, Maya suddenly called Gavin. Gavin, are you free? I'm not feeling well, so I wanted to ask you to come and help me, Maya said in a weak voice. Hearing her sister-in-law's voice, Gavin immediately agreed. Yes, I'll come over right away. At no time, Gavin was at the rented room. Maya opened the door, looking a little tired, but still kept a gentle smile. Sister, are you okay? Gavin asked worriedly. Maya shook her head. It's okay, I'm just a little tired. You can sit down. He sat down next to Maya, looking at his sister-in-law with concern. You're working too hard. You need to rest more. Maya smiled slightly. I know, but sometimes I feel lonely, Gavin. Her eyes suddenly became sad. Do you ever feel like that? Gavin was silent. His eyes met Maya's. Both of them seemed to be drawn into a private space, where the words they wanted to say were gradually revealed. Sister, I've always missed you, Gavin said softly, his voice trembling slightly. Maya unconsciously raised her hand and lightly touched Gavin's shoulder, as if to share her feelings. Me too, maybe because we have many memories together. The space suddenly became stifling. Gavin's eyes contained emotions that could not be expressed in words. He gently touched Maya's hand, his heart filled with the desire to be close to his sister-in-law. Maya gently closed her eyes, letting herself drift with the flow of emotions. Night had long since fallen, bringing with it a deep silence. The city outside only had a few streetlights, creating a quiet atmosphere, as if intentionally protecting the secrets that were taking place in the small rented room. Maya's room was submerged in a dim, gentle night light. In that space, it seemed that only the breaths of the two people sitting close together remained. Maya and Gavin said nothing, both lost in their own thoughts. But an invisible thread was pulling them closer together. They had come this far, crossing the forbidden line between sister-in-law and brother-in-law, and now they no longer know what was right or wrong. Gavin looked at Maya, his eyes filled with a deep sadness that he had been trying to suppress for so long. From the moment he stepped into this room, he knew that he had no way back. He did not want to, and could not let go of his feelings for the woman in front of him. Gavin felt his heart beating fast. Each beat seemed to blend with the desire to be close to Maya, to truly feel her once, to satisfy the long-suppressed desire. Maya lowered her head, avoiding his gaze. She felt like she was being burned by the fire of love and duty. Maya knew that what she did would leave a mark on her soul forever, but the desire and attraction that Gavin brought made it hard for her to resist. How long had it been since she felt such closeness? How long had it been since she had received a gaze filled with love and passion from someone? She looked up at Gavin, her eyes filled with confusion and turmoil, as if asking him if they should continue to go further. But Gavin's eyes answered all her questions, a look of determination and sincerity. Sister Maya. Gavin softly called her name, his voice low, gentle but passionate. I can't hold it in anymore. Every moment with you, I know that I've gone too far, but I don't regret it. Maya couldn't hide the emotions in her heart. Gavin's words were like a warm current spreading throughout her mind, erasing all her worries and anxieties. She felt her heart melt, revealing the secret desires that she had hidden for so many years. Gavin, Maya started, but couldn't continue. Words were meaningful in the midst of her emotions. Before she could think further, Gavin pulled her gently into his arms. His hand rested on her shoulder. firm and comforting. Maya felt the warmth of his body, his steady breathing by her ear, and she didn't want to let go of this moment. Gavin gently placed a light kiss on her forehead, slow but meaningful. The kiss was like an affirmation, a true expression of affection. Maya closed her eyes, silent in his arms, letting her heart lead the way. She knew she shouldn't go any further, but the desire in her heart overshadowed all reasons. Feeling Maya's response, Gavin gently kissed her cheeks, each kiss gentle but full of sincerity. He kissed down her neck, his hand still tightly holding hers, as if wanting to transfer all the feelings he had been holding back for so long. Maya trembled slightly, but did not refuse the softness of his lips. The care in his every gesture made her unable to resist. Maya knew that only Gavin could make her feel truly loved and protected. "Maya," Gavin whispered, his voice filled with passion and love. "I won't leave you alone, not even for this moment." Maya smiled softly, her eyes looking deep into his, filled with emotion and appreciation. "Thank you, Gavin. I don't want to forget these feelings either." When the last pieces of clothing were removed, they entwined together, giving each other heavenly feelings, as if lost in the void of the ninth cloud. Passionate, tender, full of intensity, a true storm of clouds and rain when all the wind and clouds had been gathered for so long. Just like that, 2 hours passed, the time they burned themselves out, ending with the ultimate feelings when both reached the top of the clouds. After that moment, both of them were pulled into a whirlpool of long repressed emotions. Gavin looked at Maya, his eyes filled with confusion and unspeakable happiness. Do you regret it?" Maya whispered, her voice trembling. Gavin shook his head, responding with eyes filled with emotion. "No, I don't regret it. But I don't know what will happen." Maya sobbed softly, looking at him. I feel torn between responsibility and feelings. We have to keep this a secret, Gavin. No matter what, I'm still Jason's brother, and you. I understand. Don't worry, I'll keep my promise," Gavin said, holding Maya's hand tightly, as if to reassure both of them. The two sat in silence, each lost in their own thoughts. Maya knew in her heart that this affair would only bring pain, but the desire and feeling still arose so strongly that she could not give up. In the following days, Maya and Gavin's affair continued in secret. Sometimes they stayed in a rented room, and sometimes they changed to motels in the city. Every time they were together, they felt satisfaction, but also endless anxiety. They both knew that if this was exposed, the consequences would be dire. But the intense feelings between them were like a smoldering fire, never really cooling down. One evening, during a family dinner, Jason suddenly asked about Gavin, starting both of them. "Gavin, I've seen you come over less often lately. Are you okay? Are you tired from studying and work?" Jason asked, his face kind, but his eyes seemed to be contemplating something. Gavin was a bit confused, trying to keep his voice calm. "Yes, I'm busy with my part-time job, so I don't come over to your house as much as before. But everything's fine, bro. I'm used to it." "Yeah, that's good. We're still young, it's important to focus on studying and working, but don't forget to take care of your health," Jason said. His eyes stopped on his wife's face, as if he was paying attention to Maya's attitude. Maya felt awkward, trying to smile to hide her confidence. "Honey, I think Gavin is grown up. It's fine to let him take care of himself. Besides, I think he's very focused, so he should be fine." Jason frowned slightly, his eyes filled with thought. "I'm just saying. Maya, the first see you've been depressed lately. What are you thinking about? Why don't you tell me?" Her husband's words made Maya feel confused, but she tried to stay calm. "I'm fine. Maybe it's because I've been a bit busy lately. Don't worry, I'm fine." The conversation between the three ended, but Maya and Gavin began to feel a sense of anxiety. After the meal, Gavin made an excuse to leave early to prepare for his schoolwork. But before leaving, he gave Maya a quick glance, as if to convey something. Maya understood that they needed to make a decision soon so as not to arouse any more suspicion from Jason. In the days that followed, Maya felt heavy. She realized that her life had taken an unexpected turn. Her feelings for Gavin were not just fleeting, but the encroachment of a wrong kind of love, a strong emotion that she had suppressed for too long in her dull married life. But now, she understands that family life and the honor of both were more important than anything. She decided that she needed to have a serious talk with Gavin to end everything. One afternoon, Maya called Gavin to a small cafe outside the city where they could talk without being noticed. When they arrived, Gavin was already waiting. He looked tired and thoughtful. "Maya," Gavin spoke when he saw her, his eyes flashing with excitement. "I know what you want to say." Maya sat down, looking at Gavin gently. "You know we can't last this relationship, right?" Gavin nodded, his eyes filled with sadness. "Sister Maya, the first understand that this can't go on forever. But my feelings for you, I don't know how to get out." Maya Gavin took her hand, her voice trembling but determined. "I feel the same way, Gavin. But my family life with Jason is more important than anything. I am his brother, and if this relationship continues, it will only cause pain for everyone." Gavin lowered his head, unable to hide the pain in his heart. "You're right. I don't want Jason to be hurt, nor do I want to make you suffer. But if I have to leave you, I'm afraid I'll never forget it." Maya gently stroked Gavin's hand, trying to comfort him. "We've been through a lot, Gavin, but perhaps those memories will always be a part of the past. I want you to continue your life, meet new people, and live the life you deserve." They were both silent. The pain and the tearing filled their hearts. The words of parting were like knives that cut deep into their hearts, but they knew it was the only way. "I will miss you, Maya," Gavin said, his voice choked. "I will try to forget, but I know it will be hard," Maya said softly, her eyes shining. "I will miss you too. But we need to be strong, for you and for my family." The two looked at each other, their eyes filled with love but unable to express it. Finally, they gave each other a hug, as a farewell to a tragic but emotional love. Years later, Gavin got married and settled down. He has become a grown man, but sometimes in his most peaceful moments, Maya's images flash through his mind, like an unforgettable memory. At a family gathering, Gavin happened to meet Maya again. Now, she is a middle-aged woman, but still gentle and graceful. They looked at each other, smiling like two old friends who had met after a long time. But hidden in their eyes were emotions and memories that could not be put into words. While everyone was chatting happily, Gavin's eyes accidentally met Maya's. Both were silent, but their eyes contained thousands of words they wanted to say. The feelings of the past now seemed to come back to life, but it was just a beautiful memory, a deep love that forever belongs to the past. When the meeting ended, Gavin walked out the door and turned to look at Maya once more. She stood there, nodding slightly as a final goodbye. They both understood that, even though they had their own families, even though their lives had changed, somewhere in their hearts they still held each other's image, like an indelible memory. And also in that meeting, reassuring, old memories, old emotions came flooding back. They made an excuse to go out again, and then the slip was extended. They continued to meet at a motel to satisfy their longing for the past days. Perhaps from here, all the chaos returned, haunting them forever. Maya is still the same, but Gavin has his own family. So isn't this going too far, ladies and gentlemen? Our story today will stop here. Thank you for taking the time to watch the entire video. Hopefully the details and emotions in the story have brought you interesting and meaningful moments. If you like this video, don't forget to like, share, and leave a comment below the video to let me know your opinion. And don't forget to click the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any stories in the future. Each of your subscriptions and likes will motivate Jane and the production team to create more engaging videos. And now, see you in the next videos. Have a great day.